Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And tape measures are one of those tools that just don't seem to be dialed in because there are so many variations. In fact, okay, we've got a Milwaukee 16 footer here. That's what it looks like. Oh, we've got the 16 foot with a wide blade. Has it on both sides. So there's that. We've got the 16 foot with the magnet on the front end. White on one side, yellow on the other. And then, of course, we've got the combination here. Here's the 16 foot with the wide blade and the magnet. So the best of those worlds. And then the 16 foot that I really like, which is just the plain old Milwaukee Stud. And this guy here is just a super durable, feels nice in the hands, lightweight, tape measure. It is limited in several ways. It's got the narrow blade. It doesn't have any reinforcement on the first part of the blade. Nothing fancy with the clip here. One nail hole and no magnetics. And it's not wide. It's only on one side. So this actually is really limiting. But it's the one I often grab. So I've got this tower of tape measure babble here of all these different possible features. So a few things. One, the 35 foots, they're great. I use these in fencing all the time. The magnet sometimes gets in the way. It sometimes is essential, but they're generally pretty heavy. Same with the 25 footers. I do like the 25-foot stud, real simple one. Again, thinner blade, doesn't have the markings on one side, but handy. So, what happened? A commenter made a statement that maybe I should check out the Nite version of the Lufkin. Now, I've used a lot of Lufkin tapes. I usually end up breaking the cases. My first Lufkin I did manage to find is this guy here. You know, and Lufkin's been around for quite a while. Somewhere here it says Lufkin. There it is. This was a tape measure Caterpillar mechanic friend of mine gave me. I liked it because it was metric and it had tenths of inches, which I thought was kind of interesting. He gave it away to me because he said it was pretty much useless, and it has a 2-inch form here. But I used it a lot. I've since replaced that with this snap-on here that's metric. I got this one because it made a lot more sense than this one. Here's an old Stanley Fat Max that has metrics because I use metrics a lot. However, I don't know what engineering wisdom they thought, but the base is also the release. So sometimes you're sliding it across a work piece and you push down and it retracts. Plus, I don't know what this was supposed to be. I think a lock. Let's check out how that works. So it's all the way to this side. Retraction is no problem. Let's push it all the way to the other side. Stick it out that side. Retraction's no problem. So it makes no difference. A lot of these auto brake tape measures just stop functioning pretty quick. This one, I do still use it because of the metrics, but it's notoriously poorly designed. So much so I was embarrassed for Stanley, so I took off the logo and stuck some poison dart frogs on there. Anyway, this new one, a couple of features about it. Number one, it seems to be very heavy. Let's see if that's true. It's a 25-footer. I put it on here, and it comes up at about 18 ounces. I'll compare that to my snap-on, or excuse me, my Milwaukee 25-footer. 18 ounces. So it's exactly the same as this one, but it's smaller. And that is it's a property we often refer to as heft. And basically it's an increase in density. So does it weigh more? No, but it is denser because it's the same mass in a smaller volume. That's okay. It uses what they call the Nite, spelled N-I-T-E-E-Y-E, or Nite. And what they're doing is they're running a black tape with kind of this safety yellowish green lettering. Now that's different than kind of the classic yellow that we see on a lot of tapes. So is that easier to read? Well, in low light, it actually is easier to read. Your eye can pick up the numbers easier. Here, the numbers are black, and well, you're already in a low light environment, and you're trying to read something that is less reflective. These could be glow in the dark, if somebody wanted to explore that, but the tape has to be out in order to absorb the light, so you could charge it by running it under a light before you're doing your measurements. But overall, I did notice in lower light conditions, in fact, we can test it right here a little bit. Let me shut off some of these lights. You can see right away, even though my camera's adjusting it, it does pick up a little bit quicker. Crank those up, give me better focus. What else? It's got all the standard markings for floor joists, for 16-inch stud markings. There's floor joist diamond marking. Every foot is marked with a big bold 3 feet. I like that because, as you notice, it changes numbers, and sometimes when I'm trying to read these a ways out, you get out here and it's like, where is the... I'll talk about standout in a moment here. Where's the next foot? Am I looking like here? I've got a bright 64. I've got, with the diamond or with the arrows, I've got 5 here. You just want to be able to read it easier. And this actually, yeah, it's faster to read. I think faster in grosser measurements. Once you get down to the precision of trying to split 16ths, it's pretty difficult. Same as all tape measures. A couple of other features on the design. Very strong retraction. In fact, look at that. This is a pretty beefy compared to some of these others that by the time they go in, they're pretty anemic. So that's good because over time that's going to make a big difference. It uses, this is like Vera bits or something. There's a diamond coating on this. Notice there are 3 nail slots, as well as some pretty good wings. So when it's trying to grab something, it's pretty successful because that diamond or that rough area, which I don't know necessarily why they put it on this side, maybe advertising. But if you see it on this side, it actually does grab pretty well. It's not magnetic. That's okay with me. Some of the magnetic ones I do find, especially when I'm trying to use the standout and then they clamp onto something and you have to bring them back, and work with it. Sometimes they're great, but a lot of the stuff I do, I don't have the magnetic end. If you're doing a lot of plumbing or electrician work, then I can see that being a big deal. So what else? It has a spot to drop a pencil. See if you can see that hole there. Right there. That allows you to quickly draw arcs if you want. I locked it. Notice it's got the standard locking mechanism here. That's way better, I think, than button locking mechanisms, because I just think that anything that's got a fixed lock like that just starts to fail after a while. This also, you notice, I can't lock it from opening easily. Some of these, even though this is in the down position, I can still move the lock all the way down, and that's happened, and then I'm trying to pull this and I force it out, and then, oh yeah, the lock's on. Whereas this one, you just simply can't lock it when it's in the down, not without a huge amount of force in the position, because this is so big. Notice these bars, the kind of a roll cage. That is because this is rated to a 100-foot drop. Here's the little thing that it came in. I got it kind of to explore this Nite Eyes before I realized there were multiple generations of them. Big things here. This has got nylon 5 times the blade life. I don't know if that's quite true because the new one has got a beefier blade. That's what the Gen 2 is. It's got a heavier duty blade, because this does kind of feel like a little bit of a flimsy blade. They claim a 14-foot standout. I have never got anywhere near that, and that's even in laboratory perfect standout conditions. I mean, I'm trying to get a standout with the wind, downhill, just everything's perfect, and at 12 feet it pops. But that doesn't really matter if you have a maximum standout under perfect conditions. I don't care. What I need is a working condition standout, and this one to me is around 10 feet. That's what you can actually manipulate it. You know, not just very carefully and then pop it and then snap it in and try again and see if you can get that standout. So I think there's a realistic standout and then there's a theoretical maximum standout. I could care less about that. There's the diamond coated end hook, the no glare high visibility blade. Now when I looked really close, I was thinking, you know, it's got a lifetime warranty. It's marketed by Crescent, which is part of Apex. I had to rip off this back part, and I'm looking, where is this thing made? I don't see it anywhere, except I dug in the garbage. Okay, and the first thing I found was this little piece, which is the piece that I tore off right here in order to release the tape measure from this security pivot or point there. And I'm looking at it really close, and look at that. USA, designed, engineered, tested. Okay, what that means is it was not made in USA, because it doesn't say made in USA. Even really close, see if we can read that. Nope, nothing. So I kept digging in the garbage and found this thing. And then right here, when I looked really close and kind of moved it around here, what do we have? Oh, there it is. Check that out. Made, let me see if I can clean that up a little. But anyway, it's made in China. That was the other little tiny piece. So if you open it, you can't tell the origin anymore. And they put a nice big old red, white, and blue stamp on it to make you think. I wasn't expecting it to be USA made. The Milwaukees aren't USA made. But anyway, it seems a solid tape measure. A couple other things. One, this is 3 inches. That's great. You look at a lot of these, and this is 3 7/8 inches. So add that to your, 4 feet 2 9/16 inches. If you look at, whoops, shut off the my phone here. And been busy. If I take a closer look at this, that 3 inches, what do I have? Close there. That's a 3-incher, so that's good, and that's the most basic Milwaukee. Move up to my favorite stud here. What do I have? 3 3. Is that an 1/8 or something? I might have to remove this thing here. 3 and something. 86 millimeters. Anyway, it's definitely not. So having a straight 3/8, yeah, it increased the density by making it smaller for the size tape it is, but it actually made a difference. Let's talk about this belt clip. This sucks, but you can fix it. Now, Milwaukee's got, they use all kinds of different attachment points, if you look. It's kind of interesting, again, that the evolution of these tape measures is happening before our eyes. So a test is really what matters. So I'm going to grab a, look at that, right there. Here's the standard hook. This is on my favorite little Craftsman professional tool basket here. I can just drop it down and it stays. That's, whoops, that's a classic. What about if I grab my Lufkin here? I can wedge it on. So, close enough. If I wanted to make it better, I modified this one. You can see I bent up this just a little bit and pulled this apart. That allows it to slide on a lot easier and hook on a pants pocket. This actually doesn't have a lot of room, but there is enough. If you're careful, you can get it on there. My guess is if I bend it a little bit like that, it's just going to become even easier to slide on. But if you're used to something like the Milwaukees, these just grab everything. In fact, they grab them so well, I often in my in the garage, a couple of workbenches, I just drop a screw into the wall and then I hook these on them so they're just hanging on the wall upside down when I put them away. Obviously, I can't do that with the Lufkin. Now, it does have a lanyard hole all the way through. I think there are some other uses for that. I can lock it down if I was drawing a circle or something. Drop a nail in there. Oh, speaking of nail holes, there are 3 of them here, so if I have a little nail I want to grab, you can see it's very easy to drop that over a nail slot or a screw in order to get a solid measuring point. So that's kind of handy. Anyway, so far the more I use it, I like it. I'm impressed. I'm interested in the Gen 2 one, and I think you know, everyone who comments, that's how I learn. That's how I figure out more about it. By the way, I did wonder, it says 100-foot drop test. What does that actually mean? Obviously 100 feet, it's going to hit the ground. I did the calculation. I think given this mass and the size of this, you know, for wind resistance, it's going to hit the ground at about 55 miles an hour. And I thought, well, what's terminal velocity? It turns out for something this size, that's going to be around 150 miles an hour. It's going to take, I think, 2.5 seconds to hit the ground, something like that, from 100 feet, where it was, I can't remember what I ended up with. But anyway, about like 10 or 12 seconds or something if I had to drop it from the highest point to reach terminal velocity. So sometimes you see numbers, 100 foot, does it really make a difference? Although they show a building here, and 100 feet is about 10 stories. And so if I look at that, get my Shockforce knife out here, and start counting down, you know, I've got, here's 1 story here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Anyway, so there's probably 20, probably 30. So that's a bit of an overstatement to show a building like that, but just having fun. Anyway, I thought you might find this interesting because I sure did. And with that, Doc out.